Brittnee Bond here is our first speaker. She's the CEO of the Remote Collective. She's an expert consultant on co-working and co-living spaces, and she believes that everyone should have access to remote work, and she intends to make this a reality. So Brittnee, where are you today?
I'm in Lagos, which is the south of Portugal.
Wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to disappear, and we're going to let Brittnee talk to you for a few minutes, and when she's done, Judy and I will come back. Thank you very much.
Thanks, April. I'm so excited to speak to you guys today. I was actually supposed to be in London this week, and I randomly am in Portugal, and it was exciting because everyone was like, well, you can still do the talk because it's remote. It's about remote work. So I want to open up the event by telling you guys I'm so excited to be here. My whole drive, since I was in high school, was that I always wanted to travel the world and work remotely. So I'm like the crazy digital nomad person that's running around everywhere. In the last week, I have been in 4 countries on 3 different continents. And when I go back, my home base is in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And when I go back there next month, I'll have been in 12 countries this calendar year, which is way too much. So what I want to talk to you guys about today, though, is the new opportunity that I think is coming with remote work. Because a lot of people are asking, is this a trend? Is this something where, it's going to come and go? And the answer that I have for you guys is this is the new reality, and this is sticking around, so we should be able to prepare for it. And
that one.
Hi, Rachel. So my picture of remote work is not that everyone's going to be like me, which is like jumping around the world, working remotely from a laptop. I think that the future of remote work has so much implications on our health and wellness, and I really believe that people are going to, I think the normal in the future is going to be able to work from home 1 or 2 days a week, be able to spend more time with your family, and be more productive because you're not on the train all the time. So my origin story with that is I graduated high school in 2008, which is, I know, dating me, but it's basically, that's when the stock market crashed, and I'm from the US. So I saw everything that everyone had ever worked for in traditional work go out the window. All of our pensions, everything that we had ever, my parents and my friends' parents worked for, go down the drain, basically. I still went into law, so I worked in the legal field for 6 years, but the whole time I wanted to work remotely. So I convinced my law firm to let me work remotely. I helped everyone go paperless in the law firm so that we had the systems in place to do it. And I traveled all over Central America back in 2014, before digital nomads was a thing, before anyone was doing any of this. And I just want you guys to know that this is completely doable, and I've been doing this for 5 years now. So the thing I want to share with everyone is not that it is an if, it's a win. It's a win. This becomes the normal. And just with co-working and co-living, a couple years ago, no one really knew what it was, and now it's blowing up everywhere. So I really want us to be prepared, and also to prepare our teams for this. So I talk a lot about this in my work, that work is becoming the new community place. So it's the place where you meet your friends, it's the place where you have your community, and I think employers need to really holistically look at how they're taking care of their teams, and especially when you work remotely. So of course there's the function of systems. You need to make sure that all the systems are in place, and I always tell CEOs when I work with them that try working remotely for a week and see what it feels like, because it's so important, especially if you have a hybrid team, to know what it's like to work remotely so that you can have your systems in place, but also your culture. Because there's so many times where I've worked with people, and I've also had this myself, where the whole water cooler moments, or the times where stuff gets spoken in person and no one told me about it, and I felt so left out. And then I felt like I couldn't speak up about it because I cherished my remote work job, and I didn't want them to say, oh, well, if you don't like it, you can just come back into the office. So I thought it was my job to kind of keep my mouth shut and kind of suffer in silence. And I think that that's so unnecessary. We need to be bringing each other up, because eventually I ended up leaving those jobs and going to something else. And especially when I was in the legal field, I was in such high demand that everyone really wanted me to work for them. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, especially for your top talent, you need to create a situation remotely create that environment where they can thrive so that you don't lose them. And so for the people that are working remotely, I want to give some quick tips on how to find community when you're working remotely, because isolation is such a thing. I've done all of the situations of working remotely, like working at home, doing it 1 or 2 days a week, and also traveling the whole world and working remotely. And I will have to tell you that everyone I've ever spoken to, it's completely normal to feel isolated, especially when you move to a new city and you're working remotely, because people find their friends at work, people find their community at work, and if you don't have that in-person connection, it's really hard to find that sometimes. And it's totally normal to feel left out. And I think we don't talk about it enough, and I really love these events about mental health around remote work, because it's not a taboo thing to talk about it. So some quick tips for you guys who are working remotely. The things that really helped me was go to where the community is already. So if you're working remotely and you can work from home, I don't recommend working from home all the time. I recommend being able to go into a co-working space, even if just 1 day a week, just to get the community. And also, if you are able to travel and work remotely, try to do what's easiest. So there's these co-living travel groups where you can hop on for a month and hop off, because the hardest part is getting your schedule down, getting your flow in for work, and also finding your community. So go to where the people are. And a big thing for me when I was in a city was to go and volunteer. So I didn't need to be anywhere. I could work from home. Sometimes I would go to the co-working space, but maybe the vibe wasn't even there. And I started figuring out, what do I care about in the community? And I started volunteering at orphanages or, your community garden even. And I found my community there. So I just want everyone to know that remote work is the future. It is totally going to happen. And I see it exploding already from when I first started. I started when people didn't understand that you could work remotely, even from a tech point of view, to the point where now people are like, oh, well, we can from a tech point of view, but should we? And, is this something that we should offer our employees? And now I'm seeing that is also becoming the last question. Now the next question is, how do we do it? I just don't want you guys as teams and companies to fall behind. And then if you are a remote worker, I don't want you to go into it blindsided, because sometimes people will hand their employees the option to work remotely, but they don't realize that it's a completely different culture and there's completely different systems in place that you need. And there's also the fact that when you're at work, we were talking about this earlier, when you're at work, everything's completely scheduled. You show up at a certain time, you have lunch at a certain time, you have breaks, everything. You have meetings, but when you're at home, you're completely on your own. And sometimes that can become really, really overwhelming. So just know that that's normal, and there's ways to work through it in a healthy way. And I just want you guys all to know it's completely possible and you can do it. And that this is the future. This is we are having a remote work conference right now, an event, and I'm signed up for 5 more in the next couple of weeks. And I'm so excited for this, and I want all of you guys to do it and to be successful at it. So that is going to be my spiel to open us up. And I really hope that you guys, I just hope that everyone knows that they can work remotely if they want to. I don't think, some people are coming to this event and they're curious about it. They're like, is it for me? Is it not for me? Just look at it from a health and wellness point of view. It's okay if you don't want to. I think the future is not going to be everyone running around the world working remotely. I think the future is, going into your office, seeing your team, but then when you need to take your kids home from school one day, having the flexibility to work a little bit extra on these hours so that you can be with your family on these hours, or to have a couple days a week where you can work from home so you don't have to commute in an hour and a half every day. So let's be prepared for it, let's be excited about it, and let's know that we can speak up if we have a hard time with it. So keep talking, you guys, if you're an employer, keep reaching out to the community and learning how to get better at it, about hosting your team. If you're an employee and you are working remotely, keep speaking up about what you need, because it's an evolving, emerging, new thing, and we all need to be working together so that it's successful for everyone. Thank you guys. I'm going to hop off now and let our next speaker jump on. This is Brittnee Bond from Remote Collective. Bye, guys.
So the way this evening is structured is we're, on the remote side at least, we're going for a speaker for a few minutes and then lots of you guys talking to each other, because that's really one of the richest parts of the
Just
remote
gave
work.
a remote work talk at Minds at Work, which is an event. I just spoke to,
let's say,
hold on.
50.
I just spoke to about like, I think 100 people online and 60 people offline. And I was really excited about it. I hope that this was inspiring for you guys and it's super inspiring for me. It's Brittnee Bond from Remote Collective. If you like my video, hit like at the bottom of the screen, and we will see you guys in the next episode. See you later. Bye.